Thank you. Good morning to everyone in the congregation and to those on Zoom. We say welcome. We are here today because we know that God is good. His desire for us is to walk always in his truth. That truth will be our guidance in all things. So, please stand as we open our service with hymn number 129, Infinite Wisdom Guides My Way. The song says, in conscious union, Lord, with thee, God leads me on and gives me strength. These are the words of guidance for each moment of our day. So our daily word today is guidance, if you haven't guessed. And our daily reader is Robert Campbell, and we welcome him up to give us the daily word. Okay, it's right here.
Today's daily word is guidance. Divine guidance clears and lights my way. I am divinely guided moment by moment, breath by breath. With certainty and assurance, I go forth to do what is mine to do, trusting all things are working for good. Even during the most trying times, through my faith, I am assured all is well, regardless of appearances, just as the sun shines after a storm. In times of uncertainty, I turn within, pray, and enter the silence where I can better discern the still, small voice within me. Then I relax and pay attention to my intuition. I listen deeply to my soul's calling. I am open and receptive to the many ways my guidance manifests. Knowing and claiming my oneness with God, I dare to reach my dreams. With unshakable faith, I go forth, expecting to receive clear guidance and direction from the Christ within me. And from Psalms 32, verse 8, I will instruct you and teach you the way. you should go. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, for that daily word. So I looked up the word guidance in the dictionary, and it says guidance is help and advice about how to do something or about how to deal with problems connected with your work, your education, or your personal relationships. And so I said, well, then spiritual guidance must be God giving you that advice, right? About how to do something or how to deal with problems. So, is Jean Ann today? Yeah, she's here today. Yeah. So look, I have a show and tell, you know. Okay? All right. So, if you don't recognize it, it's the Garmin GPS, right? A GPS, you just put it in your car, you know. Most of you probably use your phone, but I'm still old-fashioned. And so I have my Garmin, and it tells you everywhere you should go. It's wonderful, right? And I thought, gee, God, why didn't you, have a spiritual GPS for us that we could have on our smartphone, and then we could just kind of, tune in. It would be so nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? All right. However, when I think about it, that's not really what happens, is it? And so I think this topic of spiritual guidance is a lot deeper than having a map or GPS. Whoa. All right. I think very often when we make choices, we find that what actually happens, the outcome, even though we may have prayed about it, is not exactly what we expected. So I looked at the daily word again, and the scripture is Psalm 32:8, as Robert said, and it says, I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go. But in my Bible, I guess that's the King James, right? But in my Bible, there's this little 2-letter word inserted in there, and it says, I will instruct you in the way you should go. And when I thought about that, I said, that gives me a different meaning. When I say it from the King James Version, I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go, sounds very direct, right? Like a GPS. But when you put that little 2-letter word in, I will instruct you and teach you in the way, to me it sounds like a process. Maybe there's a process involved in this guidance. So, if it's about a process, I think it's a process of inner spiritual discipline through which God opens our hearts and our minds in a way that enables us to perceive life from an entirely different perspective. And so maybe that's what guidance is really all about our inner lives and the discipline that we have. And I know I've been trying to meditate twice a day, and it's difficult because life happens, right? And so sometimes at night, when I put in that evening meditation, before you know it, and you know what? It's okay. I think God knows that's what I needed at that time. It's the effort, the intention that we make. So, a perspective of life that comes from our understanding of oneness in God. That's what happens when we do those spiritual disciplines, that meditation, that prayer, that reading of the Word every day. We begin to see that every situation that arises in our lives, for all of them, there's an opportunity to manifest God's love, not just to ourselves, but to those around us. And sometimes I think all the circumstances of our lives are orchestrated in a way that we learn to make the response that God puts in our heart, and not the response of our ego personality. And so if we learn to do that in a regular way, God raises our level of consciousness just a little bit higher. And that's God's guidance, God's way of guidance. So I see this process in the story of Daniel. You remember Daniel in the Old Testament. So King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of the Babylonians, had besieged Jerusalem, and he brought all the young men back into Babylon, and he told his counselors, see if there are any really good-thinking, brilliant men, young men, that we can raise in our way, and maybe they can help us run the country, which is a pretty kind thought, right? So he wanted them all to be on a certain diet, and he wanted them all to do very different things, and and Daniel didn't do that. He maintained his spiritual practices. He prayed. He was on a vegetarian diet. He did what he believed that God wanted him to do every day. And even though he got into trouble, it was okay, because even the king realized, hey, he's on a vegetarian diet, but he's pretty smart, and he looks just as healthy, if not healthier, than some of my counselors, right, who are eating all this meat and doing different things. So God honors our commitment to our inner spiritual life. So his love for God actually overcame any fears of outward consequences. When I was taking the course, the training course to be a prayer chaplain, the director said that she knew a woman in her church who was very spiritual, did everything right, and everybody loved her. And she was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And somebody went up to her and said, how could this happen? How could God let this happen to you when you're so faithful to him? And she said, that's what God washed up on the shore of my beach. And I'm going to love it because I know he made me to love whatever arises, and I will find the good in that. And so I want to leave you with this thought. What's washed up on the shore of your beach that you may say, God, why? Remember, love what arises, and know that there's some good in that. There's something that God is growing you into because of that. Okay. Let's affirm. It's in your program, right? Divine guidance clears and lights my way. Let's say it again. Divine guidance clears and lights my way. So if you would remain seated now, and we will sing the affirming hymn, number 124. Thank you, Chuck.
Still small voice to hear. I am listening, that my heart and soul may hear. All the truth God is revealing to his children far and near. Day by day I learn something of the purer, better way. Day by day I grow in knowledge of the light, the truth, the way. How to love and help God's children realize that brighter day. When the light of truth is shining through my mind and soul so clear, when my intuition guides me, and I know that God is near, then no more can sorrow touch me. Then is bandaged all my feet.
Join me now in the affirming prayer. Focus on the breath, taking a deep breath and holding it and releasing it. Allow your body to relax. Allow your shoulders to drop. Take another breath, inhaling slowly and exhaling. Go to your sacred space where God is. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on us. Gracious God, you have given us your divine nature, that we might embody and manifest your divine love in the most heart-centered way. In every breath we take, divine love is always there. In all our personal relationships, divine love is always there. No matter in our greatest moments of triumph or in our deepest pain and despair, love is always there. We know that your guidance comes through our inner silence, where we listen openly to the still, small voice within. Teach us how to trust and follow that inner voice and guide us in the way that we should go. And so it is. Amen. And so we turn now to, please stand first and turn to hymn number 126. Thank you, Chuck.
In moments where there comes to me a vision unexpected, I clearly see within my soul the universe reflected. I am a part of all that's good. I feel no limit. The God in universe so clear, no fancy and limit. No matter what life's cultures may hold in sadness, I know there runs a meaning through a glow. I often saw grosser things. I thought the vision glorious. We are a part of all that's good, and God shall be victorious.
Thank you. And now remain standing and greet one another with, I open to God's guidance within. I open to God's guidance within. I open to God's guidance. And now I welcome Kevin Foley, our guest speaker, to come up here. And I clean up all my thank you so much.
Good morning. Good morning. I'd like to start today with a little piece of an article I saw in Newsday this week. Excuse me. It was a piece about the Algonquin. We're going to do this?
Can't do both, because it'd be horrible feedback.
Okay. This is off? Very much. Sounds like we're in a concert. Well, let's try this again. Good morning. I want to start today, as I was preparing, I came across a piece in an article about the Montauk Indians and the Algonquin language that they're trying to revise at Stony Brook University. And there was a paragraph there that struck me. And as we're talking about guidance, guidance comes in many different directions. And I'll share one or two things about preparing for today. but this hit me like neon lights on Broadway, and I like to read it with you. It says the Algonquin dialects spoken on Long Island are based on phrases that reflect concepts. The word wikashun in the dictionary would be good morning. But really what it reflects is a way of life that I see the light in you. And our language is considered to be sacred. So when we reflect those sacred thoughts and words, you translate a part of your spirit to another being. Hello actually means I acknowledge you. And how often do we go by somebody and say hi? And we don't really see that person. We don't really acknowledge that person. It's just become a habit. And it's the same with good morning. You know, how many times we walk past somebody or even in our own house, good morning. But really, if we pause for a moment, just like some of the things that were mentioned previously, and you take a breath and pause and say good morning to somebody, I see the light within you. Now, in the world of spirituality and yoga, there's a phrase called namaste. And how often do we see that and hear people say that? But really, do we really see the light in another person when we say that? Do we see the form? Do we see Marie's red hat? Do we see, as Ram Dass says, the costume that people wear? Or do we see people's true essence? And as we talk today, what I say that there are three major keys to guidance. There's one, a master key, which Bridget talked about a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about. There are golden keys, prayer, contemplation, meditation. And then there are silver keys. And the silver keys are as important that you feed each day. I'll talk about the silver keys first, because usually they don't have as much luster as the gold and the master key. But your mood and your energy is vitally important in terms of how you see yourself, see others, and see life. And how often, now with the golden keys of prayer, meditation, and contemplation, it affects our mood and our but even beyond that, we need to take care each day of raising our energy, raising our vibration. Can everyone hear me now? No. And raising our vibration. And there are many different ways. Some people may well, I can use my teacher voice, all right? But I was told that the people on Zoom may not hear me, all right? So I will just drop it down a little bit, and hopefully it will begin to work. And if I may say, if we begin to take a look at those silver keys, what do you do upon waking up to begin to raise your energy and your vibration? And as Bridget so nicely said, sometimes we fall asleep. You see, taking care of yourself is vitally important in the choices that you make and how you perceive yourself in situations. It opens a door. The key opens a door. When my energy is low, when my mood is lousy, it blocks us from seeing the sun, both the S-O-N and the S-U-N. And when we have a lot of static inside ourselves emotionally,
Faith,
Yeah,
why am I seeing your phone?
because that's what I'm listening on.
Can you hear anything?
No. Can you?
Okay. No.
Okay, we're having a little technical problem because he's not using the mic. The mic is not working for some reason. Just hold tight, please.
We'll
Okay.
hold.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
I'm sorry. The people on Zoom are at arms. They hear absolutely positively nothing. Or the podium. That one is the alpha mic.
All right, we'll do the alpha mic. Love you dearly. All right, can everybody hear me now? Can all the Zoom people hear me now? Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, so let's go back to the realization that God is closer to you than your breath. That God is all there is. There's a wonderful teaching called the Hermetic Principle. And the Hermetic Principle is all is in and all is in the all. God is all there is God, and God is in all. God is in your words. Beautiful thing about the Algonquins, their language, is they speak the Spirit through their language. And the thing is that when we begin to truly each day do things that connect us with those master keys of understanding that within this sacred place, within whatever space you are, is a sacred place if you bring the sacredness with you. If you commune and connect. Now, being a product of the 60s, I'm into vibrations and all that stuff. But when you bring a vibration that's of a higher frequency, you begin to influence wherever you are. And all you have to do is be around an infant or an animal. And they can pick up people's vibrations very easily. And sometimes you don't even have to go next to them. Like with a baby, you walk in, all of a sudden somebody starts crying or a dog starts barking. And the thing is that how do we cultivate that pathway so it's more open in our lives, that we don't allow the clouds, the drama, the humanness to pervade throughout everything we do. And notice that there's people in your lives who, when you see them, you see that spark. You're remembered. In my meditation classes, I always use a phrase called remember. And if you take the re and separate it from mem, you're reconnecting with when you remember. And how often do we remember during the day to take that deep breath, that breath of peace, that breath of connection, whether we're standing in front of someone at a supermarket, whether we're pumping gas? Do we look at the person, whoever we're around, and we see that light within that person? And when we begin to remember, it allows us to remember what's inside of us. The light inside of me acknowledges the light inside of you. And when I acknowledge the light inside of you, it connects me to the light inside of myself. Bernadette mentioned your sacred place. The sacred place is a place we go, as Jesus said, to our upper rooms, some mystical and spiritual paths. Your heart is a cave. You go in where you shut out. And when you begin to go to what I call the golden keys, it allows you to nurture a pathway to the divine within you and with others. It's like going on a retreat. If you go on a retreat, notice how much intuition just flows to you. Insight flows to you. Little nudges. One of my great teachers said, you have to listen, be quiet enough to listen to the whispers that are constantly being talked to you. See, the still small voice, God, is always talking to us. If we have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to touch and to be aware of in every situation. In Bernadette's meditation this morning, she talked about that every situation there is light and the divine and God in. And I've had the privilege of being around. I've taught health and wellness classes for over 40 years. And there's people that I've met along the way who said, cancer is one of the best things that ever happened to me. It woke me up and made me begin to look at my life and look at how my relationship to life, the divine, is and how much more I need to be committed to that. And whatever comes to your shore is an opportunity for you to use some of your keys to open up to something grander that we are not aware of. We had a little talk inside with Robert and Bernadette. Bridget, all right, excuse me. Inside, and we're talking about how spontaneity sometimes allows you things to come through you that what normally wouldn't come through you if you're caught up in formality and reading what you're supposed to read. That's why I love spontaneity so much. And one of the particular things is this, is that how do we set up our lives? How do we set up our morning so we begin to create some momentum for the rest of the day? How do we affect our mood as we're getting out of bed? Now, we're in church, but I always used to tell my students this. A lot of you wake up in the morning and go, oh, I can't use the word. I can't use that word. Another day. And I go, that's a great way to pollute your day for the rest of the day. And the thing is that I'll share with you one little thing that I've been using for years is before I get out of bed, most of the time, I look around my room and I look at 8 things that I appreciate in my room. Picture of my grandchildren, have a wooden Buddha, have a lot of angels, some beautiful flowers, crystals on my altar, whatever it may be. It lifts what? One's mood, one's vibration. And then as I'm doing all this stuff, I begin to say 8 things I'm thankful for. Before I even get into the shower, excuse me. And then I learned a wonderful song from a wonderful minister who I used to go visit a lot up in 136th Street or so, called Reverend Ike. And Reverend Ike used to have a song that says, peace in my mind, joy in my soul, and all is mine. And my wife, when she first met me, pardon my expression, I know I'm in church, she goes, what the hell are you singing? And I said, I don't know, but it makes me feel good. And see, the more we do things that make us feel good about being alive, and if you take a look at today out in the world needs your light. The world needs your love. The world needs your peace. The world, as St. Francis would say, needs you to be an instrument, not to go out and beat people over the head, but in the Bible it says, let people see who you are by your good deeds and by the light that you carry. And the keys, the master key of truly knowing who you are and who other people are, and taking some time to practice and to begin to develop a habit in your life of when you look at people, you begin to see them in a different way. It's a beautiful costume, but I know who you are. And you don't have to use those words, but you know, you ever walk by some people and somebody just looks you in the eye and you know they get you? They just, you know. Or you look at someone and you really share who you are just on a vibrational scale. And you can't do that when you're caught up in all the soap operas, dramas, pity parties, poor me, life's terrible, that guy with the orange hair is nuts, or whatever else it may be. And in the Bible and in Unity, they teach you tremendous keys. And if we begin to make the master key, that when I look at myself and other people, I see God's essence in them. I see God's light in them. Just try it one day. See if you can do it 8 times in one day. And guess what? We all fail, and then the next day, do it a little bit more. And do it particularly for people that you have a little with. It may shift things a little bit. There's a wonderful thing that excuse me, that I use in my meditation classes called meta meditation, where you say, may I be kind, may I be loving, may I be peaceful, may I be happy. And then you pick someone you love or someone you're having trouble with, and you go in your consciousness and in your heart, you say, may you be happy, may you be kind, may you be loving, and may you be peaceful. Because what happens to us, sometimes our heart closes. And on a very, very, very vibrational level, people pick that up. And when we can open our hearts and keep our hearts open, just like was mentioned about the person who had cancer, life sometimes throws us difficult things on our shore, but we need to learn to keep our heart open. We need to keep our heart open so our soul, our spirit, and the divine can nurture, comfort, and speak to you so that you begin to hear more clearly what they're talking about. And that gets difficult to do when your mood is in a lousy place or in a low frequency place. What do? Some of you probably take care, you eat well, you exercise well, which all helps you. But how do you begin to elevate that even higher? There's a wonderful song called Higher Love. Not just a human love, but a higher love. Are we an instrument of that higher love? And what? I was raised in the Catholic Church, and they have a wonderful thing called Holy Communion. To commune with the divine so that essence nurtures who you are physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. That it transforms the way you look at things. In the Course on Miracles, they talk about getting holy vision. Holy vision is seeing things in a more whole way, not just the form, seeing behind the form, beginning to practice and use in your daily life principles that change your life in the direction of being a vehicle, a vessel of divine light. And as we begin to look at it, as you leave today, I'd like you to just have some work to take home. When you get out of here away from people who are in unity, and you see someone, notice what you see about them. Notice how you look at them. Same thing at home. And how often do we take a look at home in a fresh, new way? And the thing is that if we go to the golden keys of meditation, contemplation, and prayer, prayer opens our heart, refreshes our eyes, opens our mind to the presence that is right here, right now. Heaven is where? Within you? Yes. God is where? Within you? Yes. But I'm going to say this to you. God is not just within you. He's without you. He's all around you. He is you. She is you. Me, all of us. There's one divine presence that permeates everything. One of the wonderful things right now about science is beginning to see and quantify that even things we think are static, like what you're sitting on, is actually open and moving energy. And all of life is energy. And the more that you can begin to understand and feed yourself in a way that brings your energy up, you begin to live life on a higher frequency. And just like any type of mechanical device, the more that that device can operate at a higher level, it picks up frequencies that you don't pick up down here. And our job is to rise up and go into our upper rooms and nurture us in a way that when we open our eyes, walk out of the church, walk out of the sacred place, we begin to carry that spark within us, in our eyes, in our ears, in our tongue, and in our heart. And in the Christian faith, many times there's a phrase, Christ be in my eyes, Christ be in my ears, Christ be in my tongue, and Christ be in my heart. And the Christ energy is the energy of oneness with the divine. It is the oneness with divine knowing of who you are, of who we are, and where we are. And the more we stand on solid ground, the more we stand on the ground of our being, the more we can influence life, and our path to guidance opens up more easily. See, because the phrase is, the spiritual teaching is, before you ask, I know. The answer is just right here. If God's right here, the answer's right here. And it's my blessing to give it to you, as it says in the Bible. God does not defer you. We defer by our makeup of who we are and our resistance to receiving. And the more we can begin to cultivate that pathway by using the master key, the golden keys, and the silver keys, then guidance becomes more easily available in our life. Because God does not defer guidance. We have to change the frequency and the vibration so we can begin to hear that still small voice on a regular basis. And as my father used to say to me, God is constantly speaking to you. Just wake up. And part of being here with unity is the process of waking up and doing things that you do on a daily basis to help you stay awake. And sometimes we fall asleep, not just at night in a meditation, but sometimes we sleepwalk through life. And occasionally we have a little knock on the head that wakes us up. And my Irish uncle used to say, having a thick Mick head, it takes a while for some people to wake up. But the more you cultivate a path on a spiritual level by doing the master keys and the golden keys and the silver keys, that guidance comes more easily. So we do not need to get hit in life by something that wakes us up. And the other thing is, and I just share before, is this. When you get a guidance, you get a nudge, you get a whisper, pay attention and act on it. Because if you don't act on it, it doesn't come that easily the next time. And the more you act and trust your intuition, the more you act and trust the inspiration that's given to you, the more you trust the signs that happen. I have a woman in my meditation class who is in love with red cardinals. Because every time she needs a little comfort and support, a red cardinal shows up in our life as a sign I need to turn within and take a breath and realize that peace is with me, that guidance is with me, that love is with me, that light is with me. And when we begin to have those little clues, I was walking in my house the other day, and my grandchild was there, and I was thinking about a particular word that I needed for something else that I'm doing. My granddaughter walks in out of the blue and just says this word. And I went, thank you, Lord, because it fit like a hand in glove. And you can ask, is a wonderful thing, but sometimes you don't have to ask. Sometimes, if you're open to it, those signs, those symbols, those nudges, those inspiration, and sometimes your heart is constantly speaking to you, and if you take the time to take the deep breath and just listen and feel, your answer lies where? Within you. Because why? God is within you. And God does not deprive you from what you need. And I'd like to just leave this, something that I've learned and something that I've been teaching for years. You don't have to go looking for peace. You don't have to go looking for love. You don't have to go looking for light. All you need to do is get out of the way, and it's right here. And the value of meditation, the value of prayer, and the value of contemplation, it helps you to get out of the way, and then opens your eyes, opens your heart, so your soul and the light and the divine presence that is within you and all around you can be easily seen and felt. And you would not be here if that was not important to you. See, peace is here. Presence is here. If God is everywhere, peace, presence, love, light, and guidance is readily available. Our job is to let me be a vessel. Let me be open. Let me be a vessel of light. Let me be a vessel of your love. Let me be a vessel of your peace. And most of all, let me be a vessel of your presence. And the more we can walk in that light, the more our lives begin to work better. And the last thing I'd like to leave you with is this. Love, divine love. When you connect with a divine love and know that you are truly, truly loved, it not only changes your life, but love is a factory that brings peace and abundance. When a child or infant knows that they're loved, they calm down and they open themselves up and they experience that love. The divine, whatever you consider it to be, loves you more than we'll ever know. And the more we're willing to open ourselves up to that love, all the gifts of the divine are our birthright. It's not because someone's more special than someone else. Every human being is a divine being that has a divine essence, that has a divine worth, and it's our job perhaps to help them by how we see them and look at them. And it starts first with how we look and see and understand ourselves to be. And that way, we have a closer walk with Thee, and we are guided many times without even asking. And how often have you heard people say, how did I get here? Well, guess what? Someone was walking right behind you going, come on, let's go. So I want to thank you, bless you, and please remember one important thing, that the light within you is the light within me, and is the light within all of us. And please nurture that light, because as you walk outside, you see more than ever today in this world, there needs to be more light. And you and we are the vessels of that. Amen. Now, if I'm correct, thank you very much. Okay. There you go. Thank you. Lead on, O King divine. Right, thank you. Now we will come to the part of the service where there's an offertory blessing. Love through me blesses, multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Here are the announcements. The book room will be open on the first and third Sundays of each month. The Christmas Ponciata plant order forms are in the book room now, and the 2023 Advent books will be available on December the 3rd in the book room. Today is Fellowship Sunday, so I surely hope that you have brought a friend. And there's a notice of cancellation. On Thursday, November the 23rd, we should have had a Thanksgiving service on Zoom, but that has been canceled. On Thursday, November the 30th, at 11 a.m., the book discussion group selection is Mad Honey by Jody Picoult and Jennifer Finney Boylan. All are welcome. The ID and passcode is printed on your program. And on Sunday, December the 17th, is Morning Song. This is something that you shouldn't miss. So make sure that you bring a friend and come and listen to the wonderful voices of the choir. And so that will be on Sunday, December the 17th. I thank you so much.
that's right. Sorry. Yeah, I got you.
Good afternoon. For those of you who do not have email, and for those of you who have it that don't read it on a regular, Reverend Charles sent us a message, so I want to read it very quickly. Dear church family, our bodies provide us wonderful biofeedback if we take the time to listen. My body has been providing me feedback that I no longer can dismiss or suppress. What we suppress will always be expressed, and my blood pressure is clearly expressing a need for rest and a break from my church responsibilities. I am extremely grateful that Janie Marie, Kevin Foley, Reverend Juan Enrique Torres, and Reverend Marilyn have said yes to Sunday guest speaking so that I may properly rest and reset for the new year ahead. I give thanks for you, your love, and your prayer support, while my spirit, mind, and body heal in absolute faith that all things are working for my highest good when I trust in God. Blessings and much love always, Reverend Charles.
At the end, then?
Well, they have to come forward.
Okay, and then I can mention that.
Yeah, you both birthday Sunday, and then they'll know whoever's in November birthday will stand up and come up here, and then he'll play the birthday song.
Okay.
And that's the one person on the phone.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll do the offertory praise. Everyone please stand. Thank you. Okay, hold on. And it's birthday Sunday, and all those who have a birthday in November, and there's particularly a young woman here from Albany, online. Her name is Christina Malone. So we will. Is there any November birthdays? Come on up. If we may ask, when is your birthday? The 16th. The 16th. The 8th. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, you're wonderful. Happy birthday to you. God bless The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am present.